Welcome back to Bloody Good Chats, where for the next 20 minutes, you're my best friend, so sit back, relax, and let's have a bloody good time, period. That feels really weird doing it alone, guys, but I'm glad you're here. Unfortunately, but fortunately for her, my better half is in Bali, living it up. Don't know what she's doing right now, haven't heard from her in a few hours. She's probably on the back of a moped somewhere, zipping around to cute little cafes and living it up, really. So you have me today, and I'm really excited to just sit back, relax, and pretty much have a bloody good time. Two things I'm a bit nervous about. We actually were really prepared for Eliza to go to Bali, and we filmed an entire episode of Bloody Good Chats, and we spoke about the impact of plastics on hormones. Now, only half that episode recorded, which fucking sucks. You know what's funny is I try to remind myself daily of like what is a first world problem and what is something that, you know, is actually okay to stress about. That was definitely a first world problem. And I'm here to tell you right now, I'm very aware of that. And I feel very privileged to be stressing about, oh my gosh, my episode didn't record. However, let me tell you, it pissed me off. I was so annoyed. I felt like the way that Eliza and I spoke and articulated ourselves was so good and that it was all just gone. So anyway, first world problem. I know that we're stressing about something that's super insignificant. We will record that episode again because it was a great episode. It was super informative, and it really we go deep into like why toxic load is important. We went through a study. So hang in for that episode. The second reason why I'm nervous is because the bloody fucking lawnmower dude's back. I swear to gosh, these guys mow their lawns like more than I shave down there. That was a really strange example, but you know what I mean? Like they're always mowing the lawns, and I'm like, I get it. It's nice to have a nice lawn, but you're really starting to piss me off. Again, first world problem. You know what's funny is that I've been reading a book called The Tattooist of Auschwitz, which is the story about the tattooer from the Nazi concentration camp. And it's a really, really great book. I highly recommend. But it got me thinking the next morning. After I'd started the book, I went and I jumped in my nice hot shower. I went to the toilet just because I could, and I knew that I needed to go wee in the morning. And I was like, wow, what a privilege to just have a toilet right there to go piss in. What a privilege to have hot water running and just being able to jump in the shower. So I think first world problems are really on my mind at the moment. I'm trying to like suss out what am I just complaining about for the sake of it, and what's actually important, you know? So bless this guy, working hard, getting his grass nice and green. For me, that's okay. I can edit this so that you guys can't hear it. It'll just fuck me off instead. So here we are today. I want to do a little cycle check-in before we get started. I am cycle day 23 today. I'm usually a 26-day cycle, 27-day cycle. I have been trying to work on my cycle length. I have been trying to make it a little bit longer because we want a luteal phase of at least 9 to 18 days, and mine is definitely scraping the shorter side. I think I'm around 10 days, 11 days, which is still okay, but I know for me that I'm quite stress sensitive, if you can't tell by the lawnmower fucking me off. And I find that I really need to be conscious of the practices that I'm doing in the second half of my cycle to support progesterone production, because progesterone is that hormone that keeps your uterine lining in place, and progesterone is really sensitive to stress. So if I'm not putting in practices to help myself stay regulated and stay calm, and that can look like anything as well, like that could even just look like going outside for getting some sunlight during the day, like that's all helping. But if I'm not doing that, then I do find that my luteal phase is a little bit shorter, my cycles become shorter. And knowing what I know, sometimes I feel like I'm overanalyzing what's going on within my cycle as well. So I'm trying to lengthen that luteal phase out a bit. My biggest thing for me personally is eating enough food. And Eliza will probably attest to this. I am one for skipping meals. I can't be fucked to cook sometimes. I'm just just give me the food. I would prefer someone to just pass me a plate of something and I'll be like, yep, sweet. Thinking about what to cook, again, privilege, isn't it? To cook and choose what you want to eat for the day. sometimes hard to think like that when you're cooking 3 times a day and I'm just like, when does it end? Like, when will I not be hungry? So I'm trying to not skip meals because we need food. Something that I always come back to as well is my cycle was actually longer when Eliza and I were traveling. So if you guys didn't know, we were traveling for like 9 months together, and obviously through that time we are all working together, we're all in the same space, so it was easier for us to kind of like delegate who was cooking. So it was definitely just like a me and Eliza job, and Jesse was our like travel agent, so he was busy. Me and Eliza were the cooks. And I found that when we were traveling, my cycle was longer, and that's because I had to cook because there were other people relying on me, or Eliza was cooking for me. So that's a really great indicator there of my cycle is capable of being longer. I've done it before, so it can do it again. And that's what I always say to clients who have like really bad cramps or really intense PMS symptoms. And I'm like, you haven't always experienced this, so your body is capable of it, you know, of the opposite. So that's where I'm at. Day 23, focusing on being chill and not letting the lawnmower fuck me off. If you guys are on our Sister Scoop, our emailing list, which is our bi-weekly newsletter, if you're not on that, highly recommend. Eliza and I, we either write like a personal story or something like depicting an article that we've come across, or most of the time it's what Eliza's come across because she loves diving into all that new research, and then I just read it and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Highly recommend subscribing though. That is definitely, I love writing personally, so I love just being able to like brain dump on a Sister Scoop. Like, I honestly just don't really hold back. I mean, when do I ever really hold back, to be honest? So yeah, I wrote a Sister Scoop about 10 things I would tell my 17-year-old self. And the reason why I thought this would be a good scoop is because next week is my 27th birthday. And I'm really excited to be 27. I feel like 27's got a sexy ring to it, hey? Like, there is something about being, oh, how old are you? Oh, I'm 27. Oh, how long have you been on this planet? Oh, 27 years. I don't know, that just sounds sexy as. So it's going to be a sexy year. I'm excited for it. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff around aging, especially with the society that we live in, you know, preventing ourselves from aging is something that is very, very trendy. And I'm all for that, like, you know, do what you want to do. None of my business. But I just feel like there is a really negative connotation around aging, and I really want to flip that perspective, and a story that flipped that perspective for me. I used to be a chiropractor assistant and I loved that job. I was just there to pretty much talk to people, make some phone calls, say, hey girl, what's going on? You can go on through. And let me tell you, some of the insight and some of the conversations that I had in that practice, I will take to my grave with me. One in particular, and it's funny because I quote this conversation very regularly. I think all of my friends have heard me repeat this conversation. So it's a really good sign that if you feel like saying something to someone that you don't know, go and say it, because they might remember that and always quote that like I do. So I was standing behind the desk. There was 2 people in the waiting room. One was a girl who was just about to turn 28, and there was another lady there. I'm going to say she was around 70. Her name was Marg, was the 70-year-old. Anyway, the girl who was about to turn 28, I was making conversation with her. I said, oh, what are you going to do for your birthday, blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh, I don't know. Like, I'm actually freaking out a bit about turning 28 years old. And I heard Marg do a little like little laugh in the corner. And so I didn't say anything. I was like, Marg's about to take over right now. She is about to drop some wisdom. I just know it. I can feel it in my womb. And Marg turns around and goes, oh, you don't even know what you're in for. Each year just gets better and better and better. And she said it with the most beautiful smile on her face. And I looked at Marg and she was like this glowing, radiant angel. And she just said the most beautiful, poetic thing ever. I mean, it was one sentence. But me and the 28-year-old were just like in awe at this wealth of wisdom that had just been dropped upon us. And I talk about that scenario to anyone who's ever like, oh my God, it's my birthday. Babes, each year gets better and better. What a privilege. What a privilege to be here and experiencing this. Like, when you actually think about it, it's pretty fucked up that we're even here. So each year that goes by, wow, let's go have some fun. So that's what I was going to talk about today. I wrote down 10 things that I would tell my 17-year-old self. And I also think that these little 10 things I'm going to tell my 17-year-old self, you can, like, this is stuff I would tell myself from the age of 17 to up to now with, and it's not like I've lived this really wise life. I'm only 27, but I do feel like there are some gems in here. And it's always just nice to kind of reflect when it's your birthday as well, I feel. So this is like me reflecting on my 27 years. If you've read the Sister Scoop, you know what the 10 things are, but I haven't gone into detail as to why I chose them, which is what I'm going to do today. So, number 1, do not place your value in other people, objects, or experiences. Let's start with the other people. I think there are so many times in my life where I have thought, oh, if that person wants me, that makes me worthy. No, babe, you're already worthy. You don't need anyone to want you. Just go and live your life. Objects. I feel like online shopping is not talked about enough. People online shop to create a hit of dopamine and a feeling of like excitement within themselves and a feeling of worth. Like, when I have that product, when I have that object, then I will be good enough for XYZ. No, you could literally strip away everything. You're still worthy. Now you're naked and worthy. Next one, experiences. If you are looking on social media and all these people are going and doing all of these cool things and having so much fun, just remind yourself social media is fake. Just because they're going and having all these experiences doesn't mean they're living their life. You can live your life and have so much more fun just by chilling and staying at home. It does not matter. So that's my first one. Don't put your value in other people, objects, or experiences. Number 2, stop trying to be an adult, because one day when you are an adult, you'll do anything to reconnect with your inner child. I don't think we're ever adults, honestly. Like, I look at, so my parents right now, I have no idea where they are, and they have jet set it off. They're going traveling. They've been in Thailand for the past month. They're not coming home for another 2 months, and they're just being kids, and they are literally having the time of their life. And I called my mum the other day and she was like, I've got my phone on Do Not Disturb. That's because I don't want your calls coming through. And I was like, Mum, why am I the parent in this situation? Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm trying to call you and be like, Mum, like, I need to just chat with you. Need some mum love. And she's like, babes, my phone's on Do Not Disturb. I'm on an island in Thailand somewhere. Like, leave me alone. So there you have it. Stop trying to be an adult, because you will do anything to get back into that childhood like energy, like going and traveling the world and not replying to your children. Mum, if you're watching this, hey. Number 3, stand up for what's right, even if you're scared of what the people around you might say. I have a story about this and it's quite sad. It's something that I think about quite frequently. I grew up in New Zealand. I went to a primary school there. I would say around the age of 7 or 8, I was in a class with this boy, and he was always bullied. For no reason at all. Like, I don't even understand why. And he was seated next to me in the classroom. And one day he was late back from lunch, and the other boys in the classroom decided to put a thumbtack that was facing upwards on his chair so that he would sit on it when he came back to class. And I was sitting next to him, and I was this close to saying, are you fucking stupid? What are you doing? That's so dangerous. Why would you do that? That's so mean. And I didn't. And I didn't say anything. And the boy came back and he knelt with his knee on the chair on the thumbtack. And the thumbtack, I don't know if it went into his knee. It might have bent, but it definitely, like, it hurt him a bit. And I just sat there and I didn't say anything. And to this day, I was 7 years old. That was 20 years ago. To this day, that haunts me. And if you're watching this, I'm so sorry, and I wish I said something, because honestly, from that moment on, I remember even at that age, I knew that that was wrong, and I knew that it was wrong that I didn't say anything, and I was beating myself up for not standing up for that boy. So if you are wanting to stand up for what's right, do it and do not care about what the people around you might say. Those boys in that class would have probably then started picking on me. Fuck them. At least I did the right thing to what was right of my values anyway. Number 4, try as many things as you can. Try as many things as you can. I think when you're like 17, even like later on in life, to be honest, you're like, it's so hard. You're like, oh, what do I do with my life? Like, what direction am I supposed to go? All these people are doing all of these things. I think there's so much pressure on like doing the right thing as well. And there is no right thing to do. The only right thing is to just try as many things as you can, figure out what it is that you don't like, and then not do those things and do the things that you do like. So that's my advice, is try as many things as you can to figure out what you do and you don't like. And I feel like you'll end up coming closer to yourself too, because then you're like, oh, no, I actually really like that. Or fuck no, that does not resonate with me at all. Number 5, keep taking yourself on dates. The way that you date yourself matters, and I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill from a very young age, from as soon as my parents gave me a Go card, which is like a transport card that was connected to their bank account. Bless, thank you, mum and dad. I was off on adventures, whether friends were coming with me or not. I specifically remember one day as well, I'd had enough of my phone and I left my phone at home, and I just went, I had my Go card and I just went tap, 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 took me all around wherever I wanted to go. Kind of dangerous now that I think about it, being a young teenage girl, but I just loved hanging out with myself. I loved going on dates and exploring like new parts of the place that I lived in pretty much my whole life. And still to this day, I'm so big on that. And I sometimes worry, because I love my own time so much. It does sometimes concern me as to how I'm ever going to give up that if I have to in the future. You know, obviously when you have children and a partner, you've got to be a bit more considerate. But if you can find time to even just like have a bath and light a candle, I just feel like showing yourself that respect and being like, babes, I'm creating time for you. Number 6, in a world full of trends and Botox, being yourself is so much cooler, babe. It's so much cooler. Don't go back to your hairdresser and get your hair chemically straightened because your curly hair is a vibe. I just think that especially at that age, you're so susceptible to all of the trends and the social media posts and what everyone else is doing, and just like being yourself at the end of the day is what the world needs. I feel like everyone kind of looks the same at the moment. Let's bring some individuality back, okay? Number 7, be nice to your parents and your siblings. Oh, there's probably a lot that I could go into with this one, but we don't want to dump any trauma. The biggest regret that I have, if I was to have a regret, would be the way that I was to my siblings and my parents. It was character building for them at the end of the day, and we all love each other very dearly, but I think being nice to your parents is cool. I reckon like back in high school, being a dickhead to your parents was like, you know, oh, fuck mum and dad. That was like the cool thing to do. No, not at all. It's actually really, really important and nice that you acknowledge how loving your parents are to you. Yeah. Sorry, mum and dad. Number 8, you will get over heartbreak. You might not think you will, but time really heals all. I think there are so many versions of myself that I could speak to with this. And I know if you are someone who's in the trenches right now of heartbreak, that is like shit to hear. You're like, I don't want to hear that. Like, I'm hurting right now. I'm hurting. And, you know, the saying, time heals all wounds, but it actually does. There's been 2 times in my life where I have been in the trenches of heartbreak. One time was when I was 21, and the second time was when I was 24. Very, very different scenarios. It's funny because the first scenario was like my long-term relationship. The second scenario was with a guy that I'd known for like 2 months. Why does the 2-month situationship hurt more than the 4-year relationship? I'll never understand that. I'll never understand it. But I'm here. And you know what? In those times, I thought this is the end of the world. Like, I do not see an out right now. Everything is too much. It's all too intense. I don't know how I'm going to feel different. Trust me, babes, you will. You have to feel, though. You have to feel in order to move through the shit and get to the other side. And you will get to the other side. It's just going to take a little bit of time. I also think there is a beauty in heartbreak as well, as much as I would have hated to hear myself say this. How beautiful, though, that you allowed yourself to love someone like that. That's a beautiful thing. And yeah, maybe it didn't turn out the way that you thought it was going to turn out, but how beautiful that you went and you loved somebody else with that much passion. I think that's pretty brave. And you're here today, and you will be here in the future looking back and smiling at your past self, being like, wow, she was really going through it, but we're all good now. Number 9, do not let social media ruin how much you love to read, write, walk, paint, dance, anything. Social media is very, very scary. It is addictive as fuck, and it really takes up a lot of your creativity and your time. And I think that sometimes it's one of those things that we tend to lean more to than those creative outlets that we know that we're really good at, because it's such a mind-numbing, easy thing to just scroll on social media. So don't let it take away from your creativity, because a lot of good can come from your creativity if you lean into that. But if you're not leaning into that because you're stuck scrolling on social media, you're never going to know what potential that creativity has. Bang. All right, number 10, take your health seriously, but also party fucking hard, because you can do both. I think that, and this might sound so contradicting because of the platform that we have created based off the beliefs that we have, which is to, make sure that you're treating your body like the temple that it is. But go and have fun. Maybe you're my age and you're like, people are still going out all the time, but I'm really torn and I want to look after myself. You can do both. You can go and have a night out and some drinks and be hungover the next day, and you can still then decide, okay, am I going to get Uber Eats, or am I going to go and cook myself something that I know is good food? There's definitely ways that you can move around that. Don't feel guilty about it. The guilt will probably kill you more than the glass of wine that you're having. That would be my last tip, is take care of your health, but also party fucking hard. Next time we will be checking in with you, Eliza Molly Hope will be home. We will be talking about probably more things menstrual cycle related, because I don't think we've actually touched on much cycle stuff, but don't you worry, that is definitely coming. I've got a few surprise things that I'm going to share with Eliza on the next potty, so stay tuned for that. But take care of yourselves, have the best day. Thank you so much for listening. I would love to hear in the comments, if you could tell your 17-year-old self one thing, what would it be? And sending you so much love, and I will see you on the next episode.